Dr. Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji and seeking the blessings of Pujya Shri Swamiji, let's begin. On behalf of BGSCET, I, Sachin Sabnis from AIML department, welcome you all to the first international conference, ERCICA, held at BGSCET. I request you all to rise for the Nadagite. We now present a small promotional video of BGSCET and ERCICA 2024. And Principal Sir to escort Padma Mahaswamiji and all the dignitaries to the dais. On this note, I welcome Chandana from CSD and Sinchana from ISC department to sing the invocation song.
Namamma Sharade Uma Maheshwari Nimmolagihanaaramma Namamma Sharade Uma Maheshwari ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹನಾರಮ್ಮ ಕಮ್ಮಗೊಲ್ಲನ ವೈರಿಸುತನಾದ ಸೊಂಡಿಲ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಕಣಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಮೋರೆ ಕಪಿನ ಭಾವ ಮೊರದ ಗಲದ ಕಿವಿ ಕೋರೆದಾಡೆಯ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಮೋರೆ ಕಪಿನ ಭಾವ ಮೊರದ ಗಲದ ಕಿವಿ ಕೋರೆದಾಡೆಯ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಮೂರು ಕಣ್ಣನ ಸುತ ಮುರಿದಿಟ್ಟ ಚಂದ್ರನ ಧೀರತ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಅಮ್ಮಯ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಉಟ್ಟ ಪಚ್ಚೆಯ ಬಿಗಿದುಟ್ಟ ಚಲ್ಲಣದ ದಿಟ್ಟ ತಾನಿವ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಉಟ್ಟ ಪಚ್ಚೆಯ ಬಿಗಿದುಟ್ಟ ಚಲ್ಲಣದ ದಿಟ್ಟ ತಾನಿವ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಪಟ್ಟದ ರಾಣಿ ಪಾರ್ವತಿಯ ಕುಮಾರನು ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಅಮ್ಮಯ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಕಮ್ಮಗೊಲ್ಲನ ವೈರಿಸುತನಾದ ಸೊಂಡಿಲ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಗಣನಾಥನೇ ಕಣಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ಶಾರದೆ ಉಮಾ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗಿಹ ನಾರಮ್ಮ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Thank you, Chandana and Sanchana, for the melodious invocation song. It's now my privilege to invite our beloved principal, Dr. Ravi Kumar G.K. sir, to welcome our honorable guests.
Jai Shri Gurudev. Very good dawn to one and all. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. With the divine blessings of Parampujya Jagadguru Padma Shri Dr. Balagangadhanatha Mahaswamiji avaranu smarisutta. It's my humble and devout pranams at the lotus feet of His Holiness Parampujya Jagadguru Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji, the 72nd Pontiff of Sri Adichunchanagiri Mahasamsthana Mutt, and seeking the blessings of Pujya Shri Swaminatha Swamiji. Good morning, eminent scholars and honored guests, professors, administrative staff members, and my dear students. I take this is a very privilege to welcome you all at the first international conference as this international conference built with an intent of active and interactive learning session organized by BGSCET Bengaluru. We are deeply honored and have among us thus Parampujya Jagadguru Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji. Guruji, your presence is blessings and inspirations for all of us. Guruji, your unwavering commitment to education, spiritual guidance, and societal welfare continues to enlighten us and steer us towards the path of integrity and progress. Guruji, I heartily and I humbly welcome you for this international conference. I request our director sir to welcome our Puja Guruji for this conference and seek his blessings. In absentia, I would like to welcome our secretary, Puja Shri Swaminatha Swamiji. I am honored to welcome Padma Shri A.S. Kiran Kumar sir, Indian space scientist, former chairman ISRO and former secretary Department of Space, Govt of India. He is a distinguished scientist, career spanning over 4 decades in ISRO, and he has made immense contribution with mesmerizing achievements. I am taking privilege to welcome you, sir. May I request our Puja Guruji to welcome and bless. A conference is a celebration of knowledge. Professor L.M. Patnaik, who is graciously consented to keynote speaker, he was a Vice-Chancellor of the Defence Institute of Advanced Technology, Pune. He has been the President of the Advanced Computing and Communication Society of the Computational Intelligence Society of India. His contribution to the science and information technology in India and globe is remarkable. And I am taking privilege to welcome you, sir. May I request our Puja Guruji to welcome and seek his blessings. Knowledge does not have a gender divide. Today we have with us Dr. Shwetha, Senior Director and Smart Source Technologies, Texas, USA. She has graciously consented to be a part of distinguished speaker for this occasion. I extend my special welcome to Madam. May I request our Puja Guruji to welcome Shwetha Madam for this. Give her a big applause. She has completed undergraduate from Vice-Chancellor Technological University and she has completed Master of Science and PhD from University of Alabama and Huntsville, and currently she is working in USA, Texas as a director in San Antonio. Today we have with us Dr. Sachin Sabnis, President of Lagu Udyog Bharat, Karnataka, and he spoke about geographical advantage of Belagavi as becoming a drone and EV hub. He has also mentioned that when it comes to a propagation of drone and EV industry in Belagavi, the localization manufacturing of important components will play a huge role. So I am taking the privilege to welcome you, sir. I request our Puja Guruji to welcome and bless. Today we have with us Sri Chetan, CEO of Exley Semiconductor Private Limited. I welcome you, sir. I request our Puja Guruji to. Today we have with us Bijay sir. I request Puja Swamiji to welcome Bijay sir for this conference. Today we have with us our own sister concern, first engineering college established in Adichunchanagiri in 1986. Principal Dr. Jagadguru sir is with us. I heartily welcome you for this conference, sir. I request Puja Swamiji. It's with great pride that welcome a visionary educator whose leadership has transformed our institution into a beacon of excellence. Please join me in welcoming our most respectable director sir for this international conference. I request director sir to seek the blessing from Puja Swamiji. are delighted to introduce the driving force behind this esteemed conference, whose commitment and fostering collaboration and innovation by truly inspiring. The man behind this conference, let's welcome Dr. Prasad Naik, convener of ERCICA and HOD of AI and Data Science. I request our Pujya Guruji to sit with us. Give them big applause. The man behind this ERCICA is Dr. Prasad, Professor and HOD of AI Data Science and convener of this international conference. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and welcome to all the invited CEOs of the fortune companies and principals and HODs of esteemed various institutions to the ERCICA event. I take most privilege to mention and receiving an inquiry from an interstate institutions and also love to the state. The delegate, those who have registered a place from the different place from different university. May I extend my special thanks to dear students and faculty coordinators. I hope that all of you will have two most productive days, will be an interesting and stimulating discussions, and sincerely wish that this conference will do a great success, not only to the opportunity to share a great knowledge experience to the higher education. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome our BGSCET HODs, faculties, both teaching and non-teaching, and my dear students. Again, I warm welcome to everyone who present here. Have a pleasant stay. Jai Shri Gurudev.
Welcoming the gathering. On that note, we must acknowledge the exceptional leadership of our esteemed principal, Dr. Ravi Kumar Sahu. His vision and dedication has been the cornerstone of this conference. With immense gratitude, I welcome Dr. Ravi Kumar Sahu, the principal of BGSCET. I request him to seek the blessings of Pujya Mahaswamiji. Now, as we light the lamp, we ignite knowledge, prosperity, and a bright beginning for this event. I humbly request Pujya Mahaswamiji and all the dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp and mark the beginning of this event.
Adhayami manisannibhamatmalingam Mayapuri hridaya pankaja sannivishtam Shraddha विमलचित्तजलाभिषेकै नित्यं समाधिकुसुमैर्न पुनर्भवाय नित्यं समाधिकुसुमैर्न पुनर्भवाय ज्ञानपूर्ण जगज्योति निर्मलवादमनवे कर्पूरदारति
Janana
We now come to the most significant moment of the conference, the unveiling of the conference abstract book. This book is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and research of all the contributors. I kindly request Padma Mahaswamiji and all the dignitaries to unveil the conference proceedings. On this momentous occasion, we are truly honored to have with us today Padma Shri A.S. Kiran Kumar Sahu, a highly respected former Space Commission and Chairman ISRO, former Secretary Department of Space, Govt of India. I invite Sir to address the gathering.
All of you, on the occasion of this international conference on emerging research in computing, information, communication and application, Shri Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji on the dais, with divine blessings, this conference is being organized in this institute. And it's indeed very heartening to see that an engineering institute in the country is organizing such a conference, and all the students and participants here have an opportunity to listen to the developments in this emerging topic, empowering India, the sustainable future of startups and entrepreneurs. India, after 75 years of its independence, today is poised. It is raring to go ahead. It has become the 5th largest economy in the world and aspiring to reach the topmost in the coming years. And during the period when we want to celebrate 100 years of independence, a lot more has to happen. And if you look at in the area of science and technology, world recognizes you only for your demonstrated capability, not for your claimed capability. And India has shown in many areas that it has the intrinsic ability, the talent, the intellectual ability to outdo or outperform others in the world. Not only that, it has also shown that the way this land thinks is very different from most of the Western scientific world. And for this, we really need to appreciate the heritage and the value-based education that has been present in this land for eternity. I'll touch upon few of those topics in the coming few sentences which I'll be talking about. At the outset, again, I would like to compliment the organizers for bringing together a set of people with whom you will be able to listen to the latest developments, whether in the area of artificial intelligence, digital economics, and a whole lot of things. Today, if you see, India started its activity in space program itself in 1957 when the first object went into space. There were great visionary people in this country who looked at how this disruptive technology can benefit the country. Today you have seen India is among the few countries in the world which has an ability to land on moon, and then it also demonstrated last year that it could put an object, Vikram and Pragyan, softly on the south polar region of moon where nobody else had done. Similarly, when India put the satellite around Mars in 2014, world looked at India because it was in the very first attempt a country was able to do this operation. And similarly, you have seen Aditya, where we have taken an observer between Earth and Sun about 1% closer by looking at what Sun is doing in various observation mechanisms. What this has shown is people who came out of the educational institutions in the country in the 60s and 70s, they put in their hard work, sweat and blood, and brought India to a level where the world recognizes you. And similarly in many other areas, in the atomic energy, defense, and even you saw how India dealt with COVID. While the world or majority of the people were looking at how can we take advantage of this situation economically, it is India's thought process which is very different, and not only solved the problem for itself by creating vaccines and distribution system in the country, it also provided this to others who are in need, not looking at economics as a requirement. And similarly, you have seen how the software engineers of this country, who were for long been made fun of, saying you are all nothing but e-coolies, but then they brought in the fintech revolution, and today India is in a position to break the backbone of credit card system and a whole lot of things. And you also see that world recognizes you for your demonstrated capabilities, a statement I made. This comes from our own experience, where in the initial years, India had to depend on Western countries for many requirements. Even we had to use the satellite built by Americans in 1975 to demonstrate that you can provide communication and broadcasting and weather monitoring capabilities through satellite using a borrowed satellite for 1 year. But today, after we demonstrated our lunar missions and also our own synthetic aperture radar, India is working with America on a program called NISR, where you will see a satellite being launched by India, which will be able to look at the small surface deformations that happen anywhere on the globe. And this satellite program is $1 billion plus program, where India is spending only $0.1 billion, America is spending 0.9. What this shows is they were ready to work with you because you had already demonstrated a capability. And in a similar manner today, when the world is looking at how things should happen, science and technology is growing at such a fast pace, rapid pace. You have seen how the electronics, which started with a computer, probably the first computer built, occupied a space bigger than this room. But today, the small gadget you carries a capability multiple times or thousands of times better than that. So electronics is continuously improving, with Moore's law showcasing the cost of the chip keep coming down, and you are seeing this intellectual ability to do computation in a small device is bringing in revolutions, whether you talk of machine learning or artificial intelligence. And with this, world is moving ahead, and it's moving ahead in a manner on some occasions we need to be worried about it, but at the same time we also need to make sure that not only we catch up with that, but also we bring in solutions which are very different from what others have thought of. This is where the value-based education system and also the traditional knowledge system that existed in this country makes a difference. We have all seen how rapid development in science and technology is used by some in the name of development, bringing in solutions which cause havoc. Just to give you an example, way back in the 70s, when I was visiting Russia, we were taken to a hydroelectric power plant which was constructed on the back of a huge dam across Volga River. This dam, they showcased, is able to store water, and using that you can generate hydroelectric power. But we were also shown in that lift, in that dam, a lift, a fish lift. We were wondering what's happening. A dam and then hydroelectric power plant, a fish lift. What was happening was, you are all very familiar, that Solomon fish swims thousands of miles from ocean to freshwater joint to lay its eggs. And when the dam was constructed, its path got blocked and they were not able to reach the freshwater joints. And Russia, which actually exports caviar, which is a fish egg and a delicacy for various people, huge export market, started falling rapidly. They realized that the fish is no longer able to reach the freshwater joint because of the blockage. So initially fishermen started catching the fish downstream and then leaving it upstream, and then the government decided they will put a lift where they will capture the fish downstream and then leave it upstream. Similarly, you are also very familiar how from Canada the migratory birds find on their way, hit the huge towers in America and die. Millions of them die. So what Americans started in New York is, on particular periods, they will shut down all their tower lights and allow these migratory birds to move. And in this, everything that we do, and you have also seen how rapid development of fertilizers have created unsustainable agriculture, and then plastics, water, huge number of them will come across. My reason for telling you all this is the following. Today, we are talking about computation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, doing huge activities which is in a way replacing human beings. But then if you look at what human being has done right from early times, he is only mimicking nature and then creating things which are in some ways different from what he sees in nature. Whether it is looking at stars through telescopes, or looking at small organisms through microscopes, or building rockets for going out, in all of them, their nature has showed him their actual concept. Similarly, you know that we are endowed with eye which can see only between 400 to 700 nanometers. But then you already are aware that human beings have built gadgets which can show him what is in nature in the entire electromagnetic spectrum, whether it is infrared, cameras or microwave, and a whole lot of them. So here again, artificial intelligence and machine learning, or even the mobile you carry in your hand, are they all concepts which human being found out all by himself, or is it in some ways mimicking what already nature is showing, is a question you should ask yourself. And you will find that everything that a human being has done so far, there is nothing for which concept does not exist in nature. So in such a case, even artificial intelligence, machine learning, are they all not sourced by the human intelligence, how it is grappling with the problems, how it looks at the external world, and how it creates even internet, and then communicating beyond the physical boundaries of an object. All of these are translation of concepts which human being sees in nature. And herein lies both the opportunity and the challenge. While those who develop these capability look at how they can dominate and how they can control others, because the human story is replete with us. Initially, it was the physical might of the individual which was able to provide such a dominance. Gradually, human being also found that he could manipulate others who were stronger or mightier than him. Through this manipulation, he started controlling. Today, you see the social media and the ability of those who can communicate to you through your small gadget in hand are influencing you to such an extent. Probably you are all victims of that even without your knowledge. But then this is where India has to show the way to the world. And it is here that India needs to come up with solution which is very different. In many ways, today what we are seeing is actually a colonization of a very different kind. In the yesteryears, when the first industrialization happened, we were a colonized country. The physical raw material from here, whether it is iron ore, cotton, etc., were taken out by the colonial rulers, infrastructure established elsewhere, converted it into finished product, and we were made to consume at exorbitant cost, and they were the beneficiaries. Today, if you think about it, colonization is happening at a very different level. Many of you may not be even visualizing how deep is that colonization. But unless you understand, you look at the big picture, the ability of yours to find a solution to not only survival of humans on this planet, but also the ability of humans to make sure that Earth remains a sustainable place or a living place. It is here that the great saints and rishis of this land have showcased that human life requires all other forms of life and also nature to be respected, and then in many ways we should not overexploit. If we understand this, we can actually not only ensure that human species survives on planet Earth, but also goes beyond. Because in your desire to explore the world, today humans have already found that you can be carried to places like Moon, Mars. India also has committed by 2035 we will have our own space station. By 2040, Indians will be landed on Moon and brought back. You can see there is a huge opportunity for research, development and technology here, because life to be taken out and preserved in a manner in the alien environments requires a huge amount of research, not only to find out what is required to be provided for those humans when they go out, but also how they can be provided with gadgets and techniques which they can use for exploration further. And if this universe is so vast, which the world is showing through instruments like our Aditya or AstroSat or even JWSat, etc., it is showcasing that the world is enormous, huge. Human being with the 5 sensors given to him and with a control system which has got the asli intelligence, which we are trying to mimic as artificial intelligence outside, has the ability. So if you learn to explore yourself and understand yourself, your ability to explore the world and provide the world with a capability which not only ensures that life is sustained on planet Earth, but life also can be found elsewhere, will all become a reality. Let me take this opportunity to compliment once again the Institute for providing all of you an excellent exposure to the latest developments in the areas of computing, information, communication and application, and reminding you that human being has always found what he sees in nature as the true inspiration for his growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We truly appreciate your vast wisdom and expertise. We are honored to have with us today our distinguished guest, Professor L.M. Patnaik, the former Honorable Vice-Chancellor of the Defence Institute of Advanced Technology in Pune. Professor Patnaik's expertise and leadership in the field of research and development are widely respected. We would be delighted if you could share a few words with us.
His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji, Padma Shri Professor A.S. Kiran Kumar, Dr. Shwetha, Director Dr. Raju, Principal Dr. Raju, the focal point of the conference with whom I have been interacting over the years since the inception of the conference, Dr. Prasad, other dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, faculty members, invitees, media persons, and delegates who are attending physically and virtually. At the outset, let me express my sincere thanks to the organizers for inviting me to be here this morning. My association with both the distinguished personalities goes back to several decades ago. I had known Parampujya Swamiji when he was at your Sikbalapur campus. I used to visit for the AICT inspections, conferences. We used to have his blessings after the visits. We had the honor and fortune of spending time with him after the official works. Professor Kiran Kumar's, our contact goes back to Institute IISc. When he was a student, I was working as a young faculty member in India's first hybrid computer laboratory. He used to come and do his research. He was one of the early starters in the country to start his project work on remote sensing, digitization of data. He was the one who started projects right in the institute level. From there, he went to Ahmedabad and soared quite high like satellite. Okay, he has done outstanding work. Okay. So it's always a pleasure and honor to be here, to be involved with this work. I would like to congratulate the organizers. If you look back the developments of technology, I would comment, life was so simple and easy till such time apple and raspberry were just fruits. We have witnessed a lot of transformations since then. In recent times, there has been a lot of talk about AI, machine learning, a lot of disruptive technologies. I will not get into the details of those. You will have wonderful speakers who will be speaking during this conference. And there have been many demands, projections, predictions about machine learning. Somebody said it will be something like 107 billion, 17 billion industry by 2027. And the recent trends people are talking about, those of you who know, who are in the area, we are deep into unsupervised learning because biologically it doesn't make sense to talk about supervised learning because even a small kid, small child is not taught how to recognize voices, recognize faces. So people say what is really interesting, what is natural is unsupervised learning. So there's a lot of work which is bound to happen in future and maybe semi-supervised learning and topics like no-code machine learning or low-code machine learning where you can put these things on microcontrollers like tiny machine learning and stuff like that where energy consumption is very low. People are trying to compact more and more of these things on these onto these machines. Post-COVID-19, we have witnessed tremendous amount of progress in two main sectors as I see, healthcare and education. AI and ML had tremendous impact in these two areas. Healthcare, we have witnessed what happened. I don't think we would have imagined, dreamt about a vaccine unless there were tools like AI, ML, supercomputing, high-performance computing, and techniques like that, which would have taken probably several decades and billions and billions of dollars of industrial effort, took hardly less than a year. That happened because they could derive something from the earlier attacks cases like MERS, SARS, H1N1, different type of these flus and attacks, and studied the patterns of proteins, biological structures, protein binding and all that thing using machine learning algorithms and AI techniques. And what really supplemented this is supercomputing. In fact, it is not that people were not doing neural networks or AI or machine learning, who have been working at this since early 70s, late 70s, early 80s. If you look at the publications, all of us have been publishing in neural networks, areas, classification and all that stuff. The two factors which were the prime movers for the growth of AI are the advent of high-performance computing. You had machines which could churn out data at exceedingly high speed, at affordable rates. Second one, access to huge amount of data. These are the two factors, in my opinion, which fueled the growth of AI and machine learning in the recent time. Otherwise, we had this type of activities, classification, recognition, parallelizing these algorithms going on. Several of my students who had published late 70s and IEEE transactions. There was nothing new. But then, in recent times, it has caught the attention because of the two main factors. So when you look at post-COVID, you could talk about early warnings, tracking, data dashboards, diagnosis, treatments, and social control. In education, we talked about experiential learning, distance learning, and all that thing. Now we are talking about use of machine learning extensively in training, teaching, and you come up with modules so that it navigates depending on your background. So you will see there are a lot of challenges involved in future for teachers, particularly those who are in the computer science profession. We have already heard that ChatGPT and its variants, some tools, are already replacing coders, programmers. Why are computer science students in demand? That you can write code, nothing more than that, honestly speaking. But there is a machine can code, it can write programs, solve the assignment problems. What is a student supposed to do? What is an engineer supposed to do? What should we be teaching in the class? So professors across the world now are seized with this issue. There are discussions in IEEE, ACM, forums like that. How should computer science teaching in future be facing this challenge? If programmers are replaced, there are already tools. It has passed the first programming assignment course, the gradings and all with exceeding success. So what is in store for us due to the advancements of these things? And if you look at the COVID history, 39% of the classification recognition was thanks to deep learning. You know, deep learning is again something very earth-shaking. Earlier we were talking about backpropagation, number of layers. So Hubel and Wiesel, who were experimenting with the retina of the cat, if the light falls on the eyes of the retina of a cat, how it sees. They found out that it doesn't happen just like that. It goes through LZ, V1, V2, different layers. So they said, even for us human beings, when we see something, at the first layer it is dot, second layer it is line, next layer it is rectangle, next layer it is color, next it is cube, things like that. That is why in a deep learning, you find different layers for different things, you put filters and all. So there is nothing beyond that. The number of layers is increased, competition is tremendous. And those two gentlemen who worked on this won a Nobel Prize much later. So the inspiration is from the simple phenomenon how when light falls on the retina of a cat, it sees. So as was mentioned by Professor Kiran Kumar, whether you talk about neural networks, you talk about bacterial optimization, you talk about particle swarm optimization, anything or a topic like deep learning, they are all driven by biology, science, nature around us. We just like didn't dream about this. So during COVID, 39% of this recognition was thanks to deep learning, 37% was due to other machine learning algorithms, and 24% only was due to statistical methods like time series analysis, ARMA, ARIBA, techniques like this. So the neural networks have come a sort of a great saver for us during this time, particularly in classification. Recent times you have heard about ChatGPT and fake test. This has been a challenging thing now. You talk about fake images, fake news, fake text, all that stuff. You have models like GAN, Generative Adversarial Neural Networks, trying to create these fake images. They also detect this. This is something very interesting with AI and ML. They are the source. They also try to fix this problem. Models or paradigms like GAN. In fact, they have even influenced the famous tool or access at the site, Stack Overflow. All programmers, experienced programmers throughout the world refer to that for their hints about how to write best code. ChatGPT has made inroads into that and tried to influence so that people are finding it a problem. I was talking about data. So if you look at the data creation, what it has been found out, the individuals, companies, governments will create in the next few years twice the total amount of data that has been created during the last several years. There was mention of growth in India and activity in India. We have been doing reasonably well in the domain of AI. Every sixth AI developer or researcher in the world will be an Indian in future, if you see, very soon. And about 25% of the incremental global workforce will be, in the next decade, will be from India. And we have large number of startups coming every day. So you have many of these techniques, I am sure you might have heard, tools, Copilot in Windows, launched in 2023, which can do extremely challenging things like writing code. And one of the main things, if you look at the computation demand of these algorithms, you are talking about ChatGPT 3, 3.5, 4 and 5. There is a delay, there is work. I think there has been some concerns about this maddening rush in the development of ML. They are what are called energy guzzlers. They consume huge amount of energy because you are talking about something like 175 billion parameters in ChatGPT 3.5 alone. So these parameters do some computation work. It is highly compute intensive. So if you look at these, you can convert in terms of megawatt hours or kilowatt hours or gigawatt hours, how much is energy consumed. There is a very simple equation connecting that and the carbon dioxide which is emanated from this. We are talking about sustainability, but if you look at AI, machine learning algorithms like ChatGPT and 3.54, they go against the very concept of sustainability when you talk about carbon footprints. The amount of CO2 generated, emanated from this is something tremendous. That's where these days people are talking about green machine learning algorithms, not red machine learning algorithms. The present day machine learning algorithms are called red machine learning algorithms because they consume huge amount of energy. And some of these, like 3.5, uses 570 gigabytes of data obtained from books and all that. And we have heard about LLMs, large language models. Now the talk is to talk about SLMs, like short language models. Even in India, there is an attempt to develop SLMs for Indian languages. Some of you can look into that. Microsoft, IITs, IISc, some of them have been developing SLMs for Indian languages. That is something really quite interesting. If you look at ChatGPT, it has done wonderful in many areas. Like there was a test in obstetrics and gynecology in Singapore. The AI tool was awarded 77.2% by the examiner, but the human doctors could go up to only 73.7%. So you have already witnessed it escapes the plagiarism. You turn it in and all that thing cannot help. So you cannot find out whether it is a real written one by the students or teachers or researchers. There have been many examples of success stories. I am not related to that. Prof. Kiran Kumar mentioned some of them. We have started from finance, agriculture, medicine, you name them, we have success stories. But along with that, there are risks in AI, like to talk about lack of employment. Of course, new jobs will be generated. No one knows what type of jobs you will have by 2030 or 2050 and explainability. You go to a doctor explains what is the disease, what is the course of treatment, why it happens. Deep neural networks don't tell you why it works. It fails to explain. That's where people are now talking about XAI, explainable AI. Ethics. We talked about driverless vehicles, autonomous vehicles. Some of the vehicle is there on the road. There is a pedestrian. There are some people sitting. So if there is a situation arising, should it injure the pedestrian or kill the pedestrian or hurt the people sitting inside? This is what is called ethical dilemma for the autonomous vehicles or the machine learning algorithms. A lot of research has been done in computer science in this thing, using what is called deadly dilemma, prisoner's dilemma. There are many algorithms, many examples. So AI researchers, machine learning specialists have to be working on this. There is another problem of what is called bias. There was a famous tool called Compass in US which was used for recidivism. That means a criminal goes to a judge asking for bail. The judge has to decide what is the probability that this criminal will not commit the same crime in near future. Based on that, give the bail. They had a very famous tool called Compass. It found out that it was against blacks because the data collected, the way it was trained was favoring whites and it went against blacks. There are many stories. For employment, it is not gender neutral. It favored men, not women. When it translates some text, there is a word like reception, it always says she, not he. When there is a scientist or engineer, it always says he, not she. There are many examples of bias of AI translators in machine learning like this. Trustworthiness. You have a robot, can you believe the robot? Will the robot not go against us? Will they not go in a union? What will happen? Can you trust what he's doing? You are living old patients, your grandparents, care of the robot. It has empathy. Can you trust the robot? There are many of these ethical issues. That is why we say AI is not the cup of tea of computer scientists or computer engineers or electrical engineers. There is law, there is social science, there is philosophy, there is ethics, there are a lot of topics. One of the most important topics where AI researchers are grappling now is consciousness. Machine is intelligent. Is it conscious like human beings? We talk about different types of consciousness. When you are in yoga, it is what type of consciousness. When you are in anesthesia, it is in one type of consciousness. When you are dreaming, it is yet another type of consciousness. So there are graded levels of consciousness. Is the machine conscious? Can it tell why it's enjoying something? When you go for an interview, you do well, you succeed, you feel happy. Does the machine feel happy? Does the machine express that? So people are working on some of these types of problems which are highly interdisciplinary. In fact, in NIAS, we have a small group. I am a part of that. We develop simulators, try to work on these things. There is a lot of spiritualism and a lot of aspects into this. So when we talk about these developments, now there is a concern because of all these problems. People say maybe you should put brakes, go slow. Elon Musk and some of the top scientists wrote a letter, say that for ChatGPT 5, its experimentation, maybe one should go a little bit slow and cautious. There are very interesting literature. There is a beautiful book by Max Bar, who is a professor in physics and AI at MIT. He has written a book, Life 1.0, Life 2.0, Life 3.0. Life 3.0 is being human in the age of artificial intelligence. What are the challenges? How do you live? How do you face this challenge? It is a worth reading book. You get a lot of interesting ideas in this thing. It has impacted education, like we say personalized learning, automated grading, intelligent tutoring, large number of these things. I did mention about coding because you know that it is generally estimated that sometime in the neighborhood of 2.8 trillion lines of code has been written during the last 2 decades. So now there is a talk, you have tools like Code Whisper, GitHub's Copilot, IBM's Wisdom, there are codecs of OpenAI. They are all trying to program in Python, JavaScript, you name the language, they do it. So what will happen if they replace programmers? What will computer scientists do? There is a challenge now. People across the world, professors are thinking, what should be taught in the class? Using these tools, how do you detect and do that? There is a talk of health and wellness. You find that for the first time in the human history, we are approaching a point where there will be more number of old people than young. This geriatrics is a big challenging problem, whether it's India or abroad. The world is undergoing demographic transition, characterized low fertility rate, aging population triggered by longevity, advances in medical science. And UN has declared 2021 to 2030 as the UN decade of healthy aging. So if you look at the statistics, over the years, if you see, the global number of older people is projected to be more than double, reaching 1.5 billion in 2050. The share of the global population will be about 65 years. The growth rate, what was 9.3% in 2020, will be 16% by 2050. So there is a concern now. How do you address this problem? Can you leave them care of robots? Will they have empathy? How will AI and machine learning contribute to that? There was talk about IoT, security, and one of the biggest challenges in IoT is security. You have an implanted device, a pacemaker. If hackers hack that, it is accelerated, speeded up, the person will die. If there is an autonomous vehicle, someone hacks that through wireless mechanism, the vehicle will meet with the accident. That is why sometimes we joke, IoT is not Internet of Things, it is Internet of Trouble. Because you have heterogeneous devices connected, they don't follow any particular standard, you have all sorts of problems through that. And I talked about fake images, fake videos and all. For the first time during 24th to 26th, topmost the Nobel laureates met with a simple theme called Truth, Trust and Hope. They say people are losing faith in science thanks to these advances in fake images, fake data, manipulation and all. Topmost computer scientists, Nobel laureates all debated and said, how do you address this particular problem? So then I was mentioning about GPT's contribution towards CO2. GPT-3 emits more than 500 metric tons of CO2 during training. We don't realize that. It is already trained. You use it. Tremendous amount of this is generated. So when you talk about AI, that's what I tell. You should use it not as an autopilot, you should use it as a co-pilot, as an assistant in most of these cases, so that we should be really strong enough. Like the GPU that is trained GPT-3 is estimated to have consumed 1300 megawatts of electricity, roughly equal to used by 1,450 average US households. Tremendous amount of energy is consumed. In fact, cyber security is one area which was mentioned. Machine learning also can impact in a big way, like attacks, intrusions and all being detected. There is one area which is coming up very recently, which is called digital afterlife industry. There are startups, there are some industries. What they do, they develop something so that you can go back, recall your dead parents, recall your dead relatives and have conversation with them. And it also enables you to create a website. After a person is dead, it sends emails, messages, and people can post obituaries. There are startups, there are industries for this purpose. This is called digital afterlife industry. One can go back and see, plan what happens in future. One last point, then I will stop. Semiconductor chip making was mentioning. In India today, we are talking about great progress in AI. You might have noticed the government has made promises and lot of efforts in semiconductor manufacturing and chip design. Please remember, this is going to be one of the hottest topics in future for computer science researchers, professors, teachers and students. There will be jobs for electrical engineers, electronics engineers and computer scientists. Coding. chip design, running into several hundreds of thousands of lines, is not electronics engineer's job. It is a tough programming exercise using algorithms and all. And Govt of India is spending 1.26 trillion Indian rupees to set up fab facilities and test facilities and what you call packaging facilities in Gujarat, Assam, different places with collaboration with manufacturers in Japan, Taiwan and Indian companies and Tata Electronics. There are a number of these things you will find. So there are a lot of exciting things. They will manufacture like 28, 40, 55, 100 nanometer technology wafers. There was earlier talk of design for test. During the break, our discussion, just before we came here, I was discussing with Professor Kiran Kumar. One of the things which is coming up now is design for trust. You get some course, you get some chips made abroad. How are you sure that it is trustworthy? Somebody might have implanted something into the chip so that remotely they can get signals and create havoc for you. This is very challenging for our space, defense, atomic energy, strategic sectors. They can play for that. That's where we have a new area now coming up, which is called design for trust rather than design for test. So if you look at in general, systems like ChatGPT, at times they are unreliable, frequently making errors, both in reasoning and facts. They get into hallucinations. So coding is one particular thing. If it is taken over by them, we have to be very careful what we should be teaching our students and how you detect what is done by ChatGPT and what is done by the students. In fact, many professors are giving this itself as an assignment. They say, you use and find out. And there are topics like what you said, personalized medicine using pharmacogenetics, using genetics, genetic techniques and research so that individual medicines can be developed and designed and administered. That all again depends on the AI, ML techniques which will influence digital healthcare in a very big way so that one can talk about different techniques and methods. So all this has given rise to a simple conclusion. Earlier we were talking about IT means information technology. The CEO of Lenovo said IT is no more information technology, it means intelligent transformation. You are using AI, machine learning, intelligence technique, so it is trying to transform things. So exciting times are ahead, but then we should move with caution, know its limitations, rather than creating hype only. Now if you see any program, anything you comes, people promise it's AI, okay? But you should see what is automation in that, what is intelligence in that, what is learning. Please understand, intelligence has reasoning, perception, knowledge acquisition, explanation, different factors. Is the software doing that? Intelligence is not simply matrices, partial differential equation, probability and optimization. It's much deeper things involving common sense, a lot of things. I'm sure the conference will throw open many of the challenges. Wish you all the best and have great fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing those insightful words with us. It's my honor to introduce Dr. Sachin Sabnis, the President of Laghu Udyog Bharati, Karnataka. Sir is a renowned personality in the realm of small and medium enterprises dedicated to promoting and supporting the growth of these vital sectors. I invite Sir to give a brief to the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Paying my obeisances to Shri Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji, also other dignitaries on the dais, Padma Shri Kiran Kumar, Professor Patnaik, Madam Shwetha Govindaiah, and other esteemed Principal Director of the college, as well as a lot of invitees and students who are present here. Very good morning to all of you. It is always a pleasure to be amongst the young people, and I never miss an opportunity when I get to speak to students as well as the young people who are thinking about startups, because way back when I did my engineering, startup was not a word, or maybe it had not found its way in the dictionary the way it is today. Today's international conference on emerging research, computing, information, communication and applications. So on behalf of Laghu Udyog Bharati, the organization I represent, I express heartfelt thanks to the college for organizing this kind of a conference. For the benefit of people or the guests who don't know about Laghu Udyog Bharati, I'll just take a minute introducing Laghu Udyog Bharati. It's a pan-India association representing MSMEs, working amongst MSMEs with more than 47,000 members and presence in more than 29 states. And in Karnataka, we have a presence in more than 22 districts with more than 2,000 members. And representation in majority of MSME and other sectors. But more than that, what we are doing in Karnataka closely associates with the conferences like this, basically a Tech Bharat to support, because whenever I see a startup and entrepreneurship, this is what basically Laghu Udyog Bharati intends to do. So Tech Bharat is one activity where we try to promote the startups and the startup culture amongst the young people. We have been doing it with the health tech, we have done it with the agri-tech, we have done with the education. IMS Foundation is another activity of ours where we give an opportunity for people to come and showcase their products. An exhibition where defense, aerospace, robotics, artificial intelligence is the focus areas. Apart from that, we have Utpad Samuha where we try to have product import substitution for the products. We are trying to do a lot of cluster activity in these things, as well as growth related programs for MSMEs, Gram Shilpi, which is for rural entrepreneurship. We have something called as a Kasuri Mane in Bangalore, where we help the women folks to display their products and find a market. Clinic on Wheels, we were very, very blessed that Swamiji could come and inaugurate one of our activity, which is basically focused with the CSR funds to provide healthcare to the rural population. We have started something called as a new millets card to support the millets and promotion of millet for healthier lifestyle. With this brief introduction, let me come to the topic of ERCICA. And honestly speaking, after two reputed speakers and who are renowned for their knowledge about this subject, Padma Shri Kiran Kumar and Professor Patnaik, it's a difficult task for me. But as we all know, technology today is evolving at a very, very rapid pace and enabling a faster change and progress in our lives. We all know that. And we all know that most of the technologies are changing, and the lifespan of change of technology has been less than 2 to 3 months now. It has come down to such a low level. However, it is not only the technology trends and emerging technologies that are evolving. A lot has changed, making IT professionals realize that their roles will not stay the same in contactless world tomorrow. And IT professionals in 2024 will constantly be learning, unlearning and relearning basically. And this is true for all the fields, because when I see the literate and illiterate in today's world, the definition has changed. The people who are ready to unlearn and learn are called as literate. The people who have said that we have gone through a process of education, they themselves cannot call themselves as a literate. So what does it mean with the context of India and the growing economy? Basically, it simply means that to be current with the emerging technologies and latest technological trends is the way ahead for the students out here. And we have seen that a lot of new technologies are getting developed: generative artificial intelligence, quantum computing, virtual reality, 2.0, 5G expansion, biotechnology in agriculture. autonomous vehicle, cutting edge technologies. And I could see, I was just going through the papers that were published and the book that was given, and I could see more than 84 papers being printed out there. And majority of them cover these technologies. So looking at this, I think that we are doing a great job out here, and it is basically these emerging technologies or the startups are forming more than $500 billion plus industry globally. And it is very much research and development is very much needed. Yesterday I was just going through one document, and we hardly spend not more than 0.6 or 0.65% of our GDP on research and development, and that's where India needs to be able to do something. And especially the colleges, whenever I travel abroad and try to hunt for some technologies, most of the technologies are not found with the industries. Basically they are with the universities and the colleges, and they ask us that you approach the college and you can buy the technology from them. So I look forward that maybe the education system henceforth will focus more on research and development of these emerging technologies, and we will be able to develop more looking at the future of a $5 trillion economy that we are speaking about. But coming back to the industry that I represent, honestly, I don't come from the computing world, and that's what I felt way back in 1991. And many people who come from manufacturing line like mine have a little bit of a resistance to learn the computing or be aligned with the computing world. But IoT, starting with 1.0 and now it's 4.0, and now they are in the process of implementing 5.0. None of us can stay away from this new emerging technologies that are there. Digitalization is important thing. Some of these points have been briefly mentioned by Kiran Kumar as well as Patnaik. I'm just trying to repeat out here once again. Digitalization is a big word in the going ahead, because with my kind of manufacturing industry, carbon footprint, environment, ESG is become the trend. There was a time in manufacturing industry when the quality systems were spoken about, but the quality systems are a thing of a past. People have matured, people are following them, people are upgrading themselves to that, and they have already. But ESG, the environment, social and governance are the new thing, or sustainable development goals, SDGs. So carbon footprint has become very, very important, and digitalization is going to be the way ahead for many of these manufacturing companies. The other day I was with one of my customers in Europe, and they are digitalized their machines to such a level that they have online data for them regarding the emission, regarding the running of machine, regarding the pollution that it is doing. So this is going to be a very exciting field for the younger generation going ahead. I basically come from a foundry field, and I have seen that over the years the metallurgy, the alloys, carbon fiber, 3D printing, 3D scanning, these are some of the things that have come to stay over here, and I feel that any research development on these emerging technologies would be of a great help to the industry as well as focus to the industry. And we at Laghu Udyog Bharati would be very, very happy to align with you, to collaborate with you in developing some of these technologies, taking them on the field or taking them to the field with some of the industries that we represent. And if we are able to do that, I was also introduced that we are trying to have a little bit of a demographic balance for the development. In Belgavi, we are trying to develop a drone and a EV cluster. So drone manufacturing out there, or drone related activities, as well as EV. Already we have a couple of drone manufacturing companies out there and a EV manufacturing company. So you can see the technology is traveling pretty fast. It is not now concentrated in the urban areas, but it has to move to the rural areas. And if India has to grow, technology as well as the industry and all these technologies need to be done for the common people. So the last mile connectivity, what we call, that a common man in a small village benefits out of this. So basically, this technology journey demands not only innovation but also ethical stewardship. It was spoken about. Professor Patnaik briefly stressed about the ethical stewardship, about maintaining these technologies. So in this new era, it's going to be very, very important, and the future as it unfolds will not merely be a yardstick of technological growth, but also testament to our collective progress. So together we can navigate together, more connected, more efficient in this sustainable world. So with this small thought, I would like to thank the organizers for giving an opportunity to me to be part of this conference, and once again I seek the blessing of Swamiji. Thank you very much, and thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts with us. Fueled by Pujya Mahaswamiji's vision, this organization is a very embodiment of his dreams. We are incredibly fortunate to have Pujya Mahaswamiji here with us today. In deepest gratitude, I request Pujya Mahaswamiji to share his inspiring words and blessings with all of us.
Harihi Om Tat Sat. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurti Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Himalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarhitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shri Vidyam Jagatam Dhatrim Sargasthitilayeshwarim Namami Lalitam Nitya Maha Tripura Sundarim. Sadguruಗಳ ದಿವ್ಯ ಚೇತನಕ್ಕೆ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ನಮಿಸಿ. Today's chief guest who inaugurated the program, Padma Shri Kiran Kumar ji, who served the ISRO as a chairman and has been serving as a guiding spirit for the ISRO. Today's chief guest, Mr. Patnaik, Professor Patnaik, who addressed on the topic and even beyond eloquently. And Mr. Dr. Sachin Sabnis, Dr. Shwetha yet to speak, Mr. Chetan Bojraji, principals and the director, researchers and innovators who have come here to present your papers, and dear students. ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸಮಯ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಟುಡೇಸ್ program, Emerging Research in Computing, Information, Communication and its applications. While we are discussing these four things which we are, you are not new to us. Since time immemorial, in another way we have been computing. Of course, we have been communicating. No time was there when we didn't have the information. In its own way, we had the system and we have the system of application. But we have been living in such a society now. Everything is getting changed. Change is the only constant in the universe. Ever since the Big Bang happens, till now, we have seen what are the things that happened. Again, world is going to be evolved in different format. We all know that in modern society, We have come across first industrial revolution through advent of the steam and steam engines. Second industrial revolution through generation, electricity. Third with the digital. And we are in the fourth industrial revolution with all these things. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data, machine learning, blockchain, so many terminals are there with which we have been doing. ಇಬ್ಬರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ್ರು, 3 ಜನ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದರು, ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಕಿರಣ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. Just a month ago, we had one more, another international conference over there in Jagadguru SJCET, Knowledge Engineering and Communication System. That was the topic on which that conference happened. Today we have been conducting this program, International Conference on Computing, Communication, Information and Application. In between, I must have attended 15-20 international, national and state conferences. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, I am a sannyasi. In what way I am concerned to be over here on the dais spending so many hours? I am an odd man out. ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಘಟನೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಸಾಕಾಗಿ a great promising advocate who had a best practice earning millions and millions, eventually being dejected and having reached the saturation of his profession, he wanted to become a sannyasi after having quit his profession. He went to Swami Sivananda Ashram there in Rishikesh, became a sannyasi. His colleagues who were working along with him over here, who were practicing a great lawyers, when they visited North India, particularly Varanasi, Chitrakoot, Rishikesh and Haridwar, they did know that our Snehita ali sannyasi agide anta. They traced, eventually reached out his office where he was given beautiful office. All the external forms were changed. ತಲೆ ಬೋಳ್ಸಿದ್ರು, ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ಆಗಿದ್ರು, ಕಾಷಾಯ ವಸ್ತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವರು ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು, ನನಗೂ ಸಾಕಾಗಿದೆ ಮರ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್. ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ರಿಲಿಂಕ್ವಿಶ್ಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ. Soul searching is happening. Even today we have been searching for the world, but you have started your inner journey searching inside. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ the kind of happiness which they were expressing for their friend became sannyasi, similar kind of happiness was not there on his face. Instead of tranquility, as you have mentioned, instead of IoT, it is a internet of not things, troubles. ಅವರು ಕೇಳಿದರು, ಹೌದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಫೈಲ್ಸು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಫೈಲ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದರು, ಈ ಫೈಲ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಸಾಹಸ ಸಾಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಲಾಯರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ ಆದೆ. ನಾನೊಬ್ಬ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಲಾಯರ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರೋರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ತಂದು ಕೇಸೆಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಫೈಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಲುಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಟು. ನನ್ನ ಕಥೆನೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್, trying to dive in deep into myself in the spirituality and coming area. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ನಿಂದೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ದ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಂಜನೇಯ. ಆಂಜನೇಯ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಅಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾರ್ಡ್ ಹನುಮಾನ್. ವಿ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುವಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಾಜು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುವಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಡೀಪ್ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ we can't sit idle. Just because that we are going to be in spiritual world, we can't forget the external world also. If you do not move along with, you are going to be outdated, you will be obsoleted. So being in such a society, we have to work hard to embrace all kinds of knowledge system. ಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಇದು ಅಂತ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. In our ancient system, this very jnana divided into two parts, parajnana and aparajnana. That is paravidya ಮತ್ತು ಅಪರವಿದ್ಯೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂತಹ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾತನಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರೆ ಬೈ ನಾವು ಸೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್. ಅಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದ ಡಯಾಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಕೇಸಸ್. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸು ಮುಂದಿನ ಭವಿಷ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಇವಾಗ ಒಪ್ಪಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರೇ ವಿಧಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆಲ್ ದ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್, ಎಮರ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಡೊಮೇನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಟು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎಮರ್ಜ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್, ದ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಲಗಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ, ವಿತ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್. ಎರಡನೇ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬಂತು, ಏನೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದೃಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂರನೇ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಚ್ಚೆತ್ತುಕೊಂಡು ಓಡಕ್ಕಿಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಲ್ಕನೇ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್, technocrats, the scientists like our Kiran Kumar and these many scientists who have got the great glory to our country. Let us see the glorified future. If that is to happen, you all should awake. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಾಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, if possible I will come for the to understand what all the deliberations happened, what new outcomes and new findings have come out of the presentation. I wish to come again. ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ಸ್, ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಇದು ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ದ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಡಾಟಾ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇಯರ್ 2020. Somehow I failed to get the recent one. US they have presented 4,55,856 papers with the population of 33 crores. China with the population of almost 148 crores, their paper presentation 6,69,744 research papers. Let us forget the rest. Our country 1,49,000. ಎಷ್ಟು? 1,49,000. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಾನು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಈ ಪೇಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಚಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಪೇಟೆಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಚೈನಾ 16 ಲಕ್ಷ, 16 lakhs. ಅಮೇರಿಕಾ 6 lakhs. ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ 61,000. Where are we standing? Why we have to encourage this kind of conferences is because of this one. Unless we inculcate that zeal and the interest in this many, eventually we are not going to stand at the global level. It is to inculcate the culture of research, innovation. This kind of program should happen quite often. We have to give the platform. We should come and watch and develop that interest in that domain. ಇವತ್ತು ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೂ, ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿಗೂ, ಟೆಕ್ನೋಕ್ರಾಟ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ, ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕುಳಿತುಕೊಂಡು ಕೇಳಿ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಎ ಥಿಯರಿ. ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್, ದೋಸ್ ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಪೋಕನ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಪೋಕನ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟಿಂಗ್, communication, and then information application. That application part you can't see in your teaching institutions. That can be seen, that can be felt only in these kind of conferences. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಸದುಪಯೋಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಶ್ರೀಮಠದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಉದ್ದೇಶ.
Thank you, Pujya Mahaswamiji. We are beyond grateful for your wisdom. On behalf of the ERCICA conference organizers, I stand before you today to express our sincere gratitude and thanks for making this event a resounding success. Firstly, we are deeply indebted to Pujya Mahaswamiji for his invaluable presence and guidance throughout this conference. His vision and leadership has been the driving force behind this event. We extend our heartfelt thanks to all the dignitaries on the dais who graced us with their presence today. We extend our special thanks to our director, principal, convener, and all HODs and staff of various departments for their contribution. Additionally, we extend our gratitude to the various research scholars, authors, reviewers, session chairs, technical and non-technical staff, advisory committee members, and all those who contributed indirectly and directly to the success of this conference. Finally, we thank each and every one of you for your engagement and thought-provoking contribution. We believe that knowledge and connection forged during ERCICA will continue to inspire and empower all of us. Thank you once again for making this conference a resounding success. I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Ravi Kumar, Joint General Secretary, please come and seek the blessings of Pujya Swamiji. Give them a big applause. Vilas Rathod, Senior Scientist. Next, Sri Rajesh. Rajesh, please. Vilas Rathod is a Senior Scientist, ISRO, Govt of India, Bengaluru, Karnataka. Next, Sri Rajesh MR, CEO, DTC Infotech Private Limited, Bengaluru. Sri Santosh Barmappa, Executive Consultant, Automotive Software, Bengaluru, Karnataka. Sri Sanjana, CEO, Cyber Deployment Tech Private Limited, Bengaluru. Shri Navneet Singh, CEO, KPR Air Force, Bengaluru. Sanjana, CEO, Cyber Diplomat. Shri Gopinath R, MD, Aeroscience Technology Private Limited, Bengaluru. Shri Rajiv P, CEO, Mukev Technology Private Limited, Bengaluru. Shri Bhaskar Srinivasan, Founder CEO, Trot Fireworks, Covia, California, USA. Shri Vannegoda. Shri Vannegoda Puskor, Chief Executive Officer, Multiplex Drone Private Limited, Bengaluru. Shri Magesh, Dr. Roshan. Shri Rajesh Shanmugan, Entrepreneur and Data Specialist, Hybrid 360, Bengaluru. So give them a big applause. These are the CEOs, they have started startups and they are more specialized in artificial intelligence and data science, more into drone technologies, and all the way they come here to showcase their products in our ERCICA 2024. Thank you all. All CEO, please stay back on the stage. We'll have one group photo with Pujya Swamiji. After this specialization, let's have high tea, followed by Dr. Shwetha will present for 30 minutes, then we'll go for panel discussion and break for lunch.
Respected faculty members and dear students. I'm really thankful for Dr. Ravi Kumar for giving me this opportunity. I would like to congratulate all the authors whose papers have been already accepted and who are here to proudly present that. And I also congratulate and commend all the program committee members who are here, who have been tirelessly working to make this as a successful event. With the introduction, I am Shwetha Govindaiah, and as was introduced, I'm currently working as a senior software engineer and as a director for the Smart Source. I have almost 15 years of research and software development experience. I've held mostly research assistant positions and also software engineering positions. We can start this thing, sir. Yeah, I know AI and ML is a very buzzword and a lot of people are worried, some are happy to use that. But my take on that is every time, as the Swamiji mentioned, that even the Industrial Revolution had its gains and ups and downs, right? Everyone was scared. There are two sides of it. For the AI and ML, I think the first thing is it's always good that it is making our lives better and easier. But the two bad sides of it is it can be very bad for humans, like it can be like rigging of the election or deep fake videos, those kind of ill sides. But at the same time, we do have other bad effects of his job security. It can be India or you go anywhere. You always feel that people will be asking. I was working as a research assistant for a furniture manufacturing company called Steelcase. And whenever we used to walk in the plant, the workers there used to be always worried because we used to mostly walk there to install the IoT devices and to automate most of the things there because they want to automate all the manufacturing plants so that they know they can make more money, and of course they want to use the technology. That's the Industry 4.0 revolution that everyone were talking about. But that's, as I said, the Industrial Revolution already came and went. We already faced it very well, graciously. But the confidence like this, ERCICA, it calls for the researchers, the fight against the bad side of the AI, ML, the effects of it, right? Whenever we have a good thing, we always have a bad side of it. So even with our scriptures, we know that in order to fight against the bad, we need to have a good researchers, right? Because even more good or the powerful researchers we need. So with that, I'm asking, or I'm calling for the more researchers who can actually have an ability to change the direction of the technology. You need not to be worried about job security or what am I going to be, what position I'm going to be held. It's time to work. It's time to get on your engineering cap and work on it and be a researcher, be a good researcher and tackle the actual industry problem, and whatever the job security or not, you need not to worry about. It always comes and goes with the advancement of technology. There will be new technology you need to be mastering, and that will be always taught by the great institutions like ACU. So you don't have to be worried about that. With that, I'm going to start my presentation. So my presentation topic is on discussion on computer science paper patterns, and also the introduction of one of the applications of reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning, that's basically my dissertation topic. So why are we interested in this discussion today? Because you all must be wondering, today we are going to present the papers. So being as a researcher and as a reviewer for a couple of journals and the papers and the conferences, what I have seen that a lot of times authors are missing the key information and also the key sections in the research papers. That is very important because in order to evaluate or contribute to any field, you have to follow certain guidelines and you need to follow the certain patterns. You cannot skip it because even though your research is very good, if you are not presenting it in the right way, then the chances that your research is not considered or you are not contributing anything to the field because you missed following certain guidelines. So I thought this is the better because all the young minds who are the researchers or the aspirant researchers who are looking for, I want to just give them and reiterate and go through the concepts of the standards, following the standards of research paper so that your research will be accepted. Even though your research is good, there are chances that you may miss it. Next slide. So let's look into the overview of my presentation. So first, let's look into the introduction. Why are we even worried about that? Why is that important to follow the pattern, right? So let's go over the key information that we are missing. And then the different types of conference papers and the standards. The typical standard for any conference papers or the journal articles, you already know about it. My idea here or my efforts here is basically to reiterate and go over that so that whenever you're doing your future research or presenting your future paper, you should keep this in mind, so that the quality work will come out. And the tips for writing, the common mistakes we do, and then we will go through briefly about my research and what is the application of it. Okay, the next slide. So why, as I said, why is it important? First thing is every time whenever the researcher, you put on the researcher hat and think about it. Whenever you are reading a research paper from other person's research paper or the literature survey, what do you look for? What are you looking into in the research paper? Are you interested in the methodology? Are you interested in the conclusion, right? For that, there is each separate section, defined section. If when I was a beginner, the researcher, I was going through each word by word so that I don't want to miss everything. But my professor, who is already experienced, he just go through the abstracts and he says, okay, this abstract, I read it and it is good, whether should we consider and move forward and dig deeper or not, he can judge it. So if your abstract is not right or it's not good, there are chances that you may miss that being cited, right? So first important thing you should always keep in mind is that you're contributing something to this field. That means you need to be cited as well, right? So you're missing that opportunity of your work being published. Then facilitating the peer review. So when you submit to the conferences, there are chances the peer reviewers you need to help them by making sure that you follow certain template. That abstract section needs to be abstract, it's not need to be conclusion, right? Or you don't miss any sections. And with that, there will be a critical evaluation of your work and then they can give you proper judgment of your work. And then the ensure completeness. So as an author, you will feel satisfaction then you have already conferences or the following the general guidelines, you are check marking all the necessary steps or the sections you have filled in. That kind of gives a confidence and the satisfaction that you are not missing anything, right? So that is important. And aids in comparison. So literature survey, when you are working on the review papers, right, you need, and it saves a lot of time, you need more and more. You don't have to go through read each and every section word by word. You just go to the conclusion and the abstract and see, okay, whether it is a relevant paper, whether they have a relevant, did they get the right conclusion, or did the results match what you want, what you're looking for, the topic is defined, the problem is defined well. So all these things matters. And supports our academic integrity. So this is very important. A lot of times with the AI tools, a lot of students, what's happening is they just copy paste and try to reword in such that you won't be caught in the plagiarism. So students think that they are very smart, but there are no number of new AI tools that it can easily find out that you have plagiarized the article. So And also, by following your presentation or your work, then you are telling that giving academic transparency that if someone else follows the same steps or conduct the same experiment, they're going to get the same results. And the professional presentation, right? Everything has a standards. If you are aligning with yourself in the certain standards, following certain patterns, then you're saying that you're a professional researcher. And adhering to the guidelines, there are some conferences, the moment you submit your papers, then if the format is not aligned to the conference, they will reject right away. As I said, again, and I am reiterating that even though you have a quality of work, you have missed the guidelines and you have lost the opportunity. So that should not happen. And of course, it saves times, right? Especially with computer science, there's thousands of articles coming out, and Swamiji also mentioned about he gave the statistics, right? So every time there's a lot of, every day there are a lot of articles coming out. So for any researcher to read your paper, you should give them something, right? Or your research presented your content very well. And the overall, all these following these things will show you how good quality of research have you done. So next slide. So there are these standard, generally we can categorize the different types of research papers as these 4 kinds. The empirical research and engineering and the review and then the theoretical research. Next slide. So empirical research, we know that you have some kind of hypothesis and you want to collect the data. It can be qualitative or quantitative research. You want to collect that and you want to analyze and do some case studies and come up with some research questions, and you're going to answer them whether the hypothesis is valid or not. And very important thing is, most of the research papers you have seen, there won't be a defined problem statement section. So I've seen that the quality shows there whether you have a very well-defined, concise problem. In research, since I'm a computer science researcher, I think that concising the problem and defining your problem statement shows that whether you're a very good researcher or not. So these are the typical steps or the flow chart for the conference papers, what the important topics need to be considered. But I think as you all are aware of all these things, but only thing is you miss those sections maybe in a hurry that you want to publish or want to highlight something. I've seen a paper such that they say something in the abstract, but when you go to the conclusion, this is totally different. And sometimes in between they say different methods, and sometimes in the review papers they say that they came up with a method, but actually they are summarizing someone else's research work, right? So you have to be very clear about that's where the academic integrity comes into point. That's very important that you need to be considering. And then the results, engineering papers. So most of the AI ML, the more recent advancement with AI ML, they're producing so many papers, or mostly comes under the engineering research paper section. So you need to be very careful. How do you define your model, especially when you take a CNN, convolution neural network, or deep learning, any models? You should have a section to define define or describe the model. So a lot of times your model could be based on some other well-known models, right? But still you should have an effort. There are research papers I have seen, the people have missed totally about they've said that I've used this model, that's it. There's no details of it. How many deep layer network was it? Was it based on any other model? What loss function did you use? What are the parameter tuning, right? These are very important key findings, key important information, because you are helping the community. You're contributing something to the community, means you are helping them to not to ask too many questions. When you someone reads your paper, they should not come up with so many thousands of questions. What was the author thinking about? What is he doing? What he or she is doing about it, right? So you should make sure that you have answered most of the questions. So review papers, as I said, it's mostly summarizing your someone else's research. So you should be very careful, because in order to save time, people, when they want to start the research, right, when they are beginning their research career, they will go with the review papers mostly, because everything is given there, right? The author already selected, they curated everything. They based on certain category questions, they've categorized and they have grouped together, and their findings they're giving, critically evaluating someone else's research. So that means you have to be extra careful. Sometimes I've seen the review papers, they have just copy pasted the abstract given to some AI tools, and they reworded and they pasted it. That's not the findings, or that's not how the review paper should be judged. It should be basically, you need to reword it. Of course, you need to take, you can take with the help of AI tools, but your critical judgment, human brain critical judgment is missing there, right? So you need to be very careful about that. Next one. Yeah, review sorry about that. It's a theoretical paper. Theoretical papers, basically, you have a hypothesis, but you are trying to give with a mathematical background, mathematical support, the axioms or theorems, right? That's what it is, basically. So this is the typical standards of the conference papers. So basically, you'll have abstract, introduction, and then the literature survey, and then the problem definition. Usually, you don't see this problem definition, the fourth bullet, because they think they merge with the methodology itself. But before that, you have to think, what problem are you facing? Trying to solve. What problem are you answering? What questions are you answering? You have to be very clear about it. And then, of course, the tips for writing, you have to be very concise. You have to maintain you have to do proofreading, and the tables and figures, I have to mention this. A lot of times there are tables and figures everywhere in the papers, but there's no reference to that in the text. And sometimes you take that images or the figures from the different source, but you're not cited that. So that's a very bad, right? You are not giving any privilege or this citation to other person who have actually come up with that figures, right? So that is not right way, because you're taking that and you're presenting that is yours, right? And common mistakes, as I said, with the literature survey, you have to be careful. With the computer science, it's good when you start your career. Obviously, as a researcher, you have to go from the fundamental papers. But when you are presenting your research, it's always they expect you to present or cite or do a literature survey with the recent advancement or the recent publications. That shows that you are up to date with the current literature or the current art of the work, right? Yeah, so coming now to my research topic, my dissertation research, it's basically application of the reinforcement learning to plan manufacturing material handling. So let's briefly understand what is reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning, I think I'm pretty sure you're a lot of AI/ML graduates or students who are currently taking those subjects. So reinforcement learning is basically one of the types of machine learning where it is developed from the human behavior. That is basically you keep taking certain actions, methodically keep trying being in certain situation and try to learn and master that policy, master being in particular situation, what right actions to be taken, right? That's how we humans always wonder and think and master every day. Even as a small situation, we try to make a lot of different choices, and sometimes after making many bad choices and good choices, we will learn, okay, being in this situation, what is good. So this is completely inspired by the human behavior, and so the most important 5 components of the reinforcement learning is environment, that is anything outside the oral agent, and then agent itself, of course, and then the actions and the states. Actions is basically you take from one state to another state. State is nothing but the perceived situation of the environment. And there's other 2 components as well. And there's the reward. Reward is a signal, the feedback that we get from the environment to the oral agent, so that it gives, like, whenever we make some choice, we need to know whether we did a good or bad, right? So that's the reward is basically that. But that's an immediate reward, and that is mostly scalar. But coming to the, let's look in a small example, right? This is from the Sutton and Bartow book. That's 4-grid problem. So all the gray gray boxes shows the terminal state, and the remaining the number boxes or the non-terminal states. So being in any non-terminal states, the goal is to go to the terminal states, and the actions are going up, down, or left and right. So you choose the left and left side, the two columns shows the value function. Value function, as I said, reward is basically the immediate reward. Sometimes in the life we don't want to know the immediate reward. We want to go for the period or the discounted reward that we want, long-term reward that we call in the reinforcement learning. So those are calculated using the Bellman equations called the value functions, the state value function or the state action value function. So basically, as you see that applying the reinforcement learning algorithms, it's basically Q-learning they have applied. Within 3-4 iterations, they have learned the policy. Policy is nothing but the probabilities of taking action being in particular state, the mapping of those probabilities. So you see that by the third iteration, we already know the policy. Like being in any particular non-terminal states, you can go to the terminal state. The next. So the application. So as I said, I was working as a research assistant. There was when we were working in the manufacturing plant, we always used to see that the manufacturing plant used to struggle with the movement of the material. So what is material handling is basically planning and execution of the material from warehouse to the workstations. Workstation is basically where exactly the parts have been assembled or the finished goods happens. So this is in-house warehouse we are talking about. So this involves a lot of things. It involves number of different types of equipments, different types of routes that they can take, and also the penalty. This is warehouse. The material movement is very important because in order to make sure that the production schedule is on time, you have to supply the raw materials on time. If there's no raw materials, then of course there will be a penalty. There will be backslash of the production, right? So we have to be very careful, and this is a non-value added cost. That means the end product, whatever the manufacturers produce at the end product, doesn't have a value. This material handling doesn't have a value in it. It doesn't have a cost in it. That means this is an extra cost the manufacturers have to weigh. So they always put a lot of effort to how to handle it, how to solve this problem. So what are the key motivations for this one? First thing is the steel case. As I said, they were spending $4 to $5 million per year on the material handling because they had so many 6 to 7 manufacturing plants across US, and I think they do have in South Africa. And then why do we use RL? So you must be wondering, why are you thinking that material handling problem can be solved by reinforcement learning only? I'm not saying that it can be solved from reinforcement learning. The idea here is the mapping of the industry problem, such a big industrial problem, to reinforcement learning opens up a room for a lot of other opportunities, such as like it can be extended to solve other problems. And unlike other supervised, unsupervised learning that you have learned from the machine learning, right? You don't need a lot of data here. It learns and it creates the data by actually doing the work. So you have to simulate that and it creates the data by itself. So that is another advantage of it. And as I said, once we properly map the material handling problem as a reinforcement learning problem, then it opens up the room that I can even solve the layout problem, or we can also even solve the consumption, the production problems. So there are a lot of things. So it's mapping that big industry material handling or mapping this manufacturing layout, including that in as a reinforcement learning problem. It itself is a big contribution that we did. So yeah, next. So this is how the research structure. Basically, there are two different components here, the processes. So first one is reinforcement learning. You can think that as a black box which actually runs the reinforcement learning algorithm. And the other one is the simulation. As I said, the reward is one of the component of the reinforcement learning. The simulation here is the abstract descriptive and simulation. Usually the rewards will be usually scalar. But in our research problem, that because of the scale of the problem, we have to make that was a vector output. So we used a weighted sum to make it as a scalar. But that entire thing it was done in the abstract descriptive and simulation, and we implemented that. I implemented that. So the input for the reinforcement learning is basically material handling plans. We start from naive into very basic material handling plans, and then we start improving. That's basically how the reinforcement learning starts. You start from some state, and then you keep methodically taking trial and error actions, and then you learn the value or being the reward function, and then later you learn the complete policy of it. And then the input for the simulation is basically the layout and then the part consumption. Because the idea here is, for our research was that whenever the manager, material handling manager inputs the production schedule, you with the reinforcement learning, this as a black box, then you get an efficient or optimized material handling plan. So that was the whole idea. Excellent. So goals of the research. What are the goals of the research is basically how can we map this complex factory layout as a reinforcement learning problem, and is there an efficient way of reinforcement learning, because there are different ways of reinforcement, different algorithms or the methods of reinforcement learning, Q-learning, SARSAT, that's a temporal difference learning, or Monte Carlo simulation. What methods are better for this kind of problems, right? That's one of the research goals. And then how can we change, because it is, as I said, you can imagine that changing it, there are multiple actions that you can take. So coming up with a concise and very less number of actions, so which can be used and which can be made into a real application was another thing. How can you come up with the actions which will change your material handling plan? And the practical question also, there's a thing in the reinforcement learning called epsilon greedy, whether you want to explore or you want to exploit. That is, being in a particular situation, you always want to take the one which you want to take an action which will always give you the maximum rewards. But at that moment, but in the long run may not be good, right? So we have a technique called epsilon greedy algorithm where you can either explore or exploit. So we want to see whether exploration or exploitation will give you more good results, which one will be good for this particular application. And then we also wanted to answer some theoretical questions, because we wanted to use the reinforcement learning along with the deep neural networks and see whether, because whenever we applied, when researchers have applied the deep neural networks combined with reinforcement learning, there was a vanishing and diminishing gradient. So sometimes it behaved well, sometimes it didn't. So we wanted to see whether it did well or not. So that was one of the research questions. So literature survey, I just wanted to show this slide because, as you can see, manufacturing and the reinforcement learning, which is under the computer science, there's so many fields there, right? We were only interested in reinforcement learning applied to manufacturing problem. So this is basically briefly about the material handling plan that we had. We also use the graph theory concepts. The plan consists of walk, that is the route that the material handling person is going to take. And then the equipment, what type of equipment, because there are multiple different types of equipments, each can carry different type of parts. And how many trips that he or she has to make in order to deliver the parts from material handling warehouse to the workstation itself. And then the deliveries. That's actually 4 tuple, and we have these many sub components inside the plan. So these are the actions that we use, whether how can we go from one plan to other plan, right? Whether you increase the number of parts you delivered or go more number of trips, or change the different type of equipment, or merge the routes, right? This is all the actually NP problems that, but we did not go to solving the route problem, but basically you can use these different types of actions to change your plan. So as I said, the RL has the more important components of states, actions, and rewards, right? The states are basically whenever you have a material handling plan for a given production cycle, you have to make sure that you don't run out of the parts and the production schedule is stopped, the production is stopped, right? So that is the penalty. When you start with a naive plan, you can start with a penalty. That means you're running out of parts. And then the RL agent will start taking actions, and then it will make improvements to the plan such that the goal is you don't run out of the parts and your production schedule is on time. So this is the overall structure of the MHRL process, that is material handling applied to reinforcement learning applied to the material handling. So agent is basically taking 3,000 actions. How come we came up with 3,000? That's basically empirical study we did. After 3,000 actions is kind of stabilized. And then the environment is basically changing the plans, its layout itself. So this is the overall structure. The manager will give input the plan, repository plan, and then the RL black box will take care of producing the optimized plan. This is a simple pseudocode. So I missed in the conference paper pattern talking about the pseudocode. I have seen the pseudocode. It's better always to initialize and you have a lot of textbook references that the way they have presented the pseudocode, it's always better to follow that, or else you will miss. And also please refer them when in the text. It's not only just having it as a table and the table number or the pseudocode number, please do refer them. So, these questions, before jumping into questions, I just want to give you as a researcher one thing: don't get influenced by the other people's research. You have an ability to research, solve a problem. Just read the fundamentals, whatever is needed for you to understand that particular topic, and then sit and think about the research problem. There are thousands of research problems open, and you all have ability to do so. And don't get influenced from others' research, because the moment you read any existing research on that, you cannot think about it. Always it will be haunting the same thing. Okay, that already exists. What am I going to do? So you just, like if you're taking a reinforcement learning, just run the theory behind that and take an open research problem, and then continue with that. You sit just with a problem and think about the ways you could solve, and then go back to the literature and then come up and see whether there is a problem, people have solved that problem or not. So with that, I think if you have any questions, open to answer. But thank you. So AIML, I know a lot of people are worried, and I don't know what am I going to happen, what's going to be my future. Please don't be worried. There's plenty of things to solve, and we all need your help. Be a good researcher, and please maintain academic integrity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We sincerely appreciate your words. I now invite Dr. G.T. Raju sir to welcome the ISRO scientist, Shri Venkata Narasimhamurthy sir.
Myself, Dr. Prasad. Very glad, and we had a wonderful audience, delegates from different parts of the entire nation, apart from Karnataka. Believe me, I mean, now these days, a lot of conferences you keep going, but the ultimate thing is where you get published papers is really matters. That is what researchers every time they look for quality of publications. So 500 plus papers we get, and 300 plus odd papers has been rejected straight away, I mean, in one shot. Then again 200 papers goes into different quality checks. Again we send it to Springer. Again they did so many quality rounds. Out of all that, getting one best paper award is, I mean, unbelievable. Any researcher would look for that actually. I mean, on behalf of ERCICA 2024, we from BMSIT, our academic partner, they have submitted more than 24 papers. Out of that, one paper, best paper award goes to, it is on E-sign language using eCNN. The author is here, proud author. His name is Manoj H.M., Assistant Professor, Computer Science and Engineering from BMSIT. I request kindly come on the stage and collect the Best Paper Award. On behalf of ERCICA, we are so proud of you, sir. I request our Director and Principal Sir to kindly hand over the Best Paper Award to Manoj HM, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, BMSIT College of Engineering, BMSIT College of Technology and Management, Bengaluru. I already said how the papers was been selected. Out of 500, there are number of quality checks have been happened.
I understand which one should I use to get the right opportunity in the industry, right? But when you're talking about technology, what I should implement in my product, right? See, that's what I'm telling you, we should have that. We have pre-decided I'm going to use certain algorithm for my product, all these things. That is also good idea, but it should be unique of its kind. Are you going to solve some unauthorized problem there? Anything you want to say?
See, the algorithms, it may play a vital decision, but it is an application of what you are going to solve. If you say that I want to apply the computer vision for industrial applications, what level of industrial applications you are trying to focus? So the industries could be at a manufacturing, or it could be at in a process side, or it could be in a discrete manufacturing. The various level of manufacturing, right? So you talk about oil and gas, you talk about pharma, you talk about the chemical plants, you talk about cement, those things. So what industries of these would they adopt computer vision to the betterment of the process? That is how you need to decide what could be this thing. For example, we focus on the computer vision for a quality inspection by and large.
For fruit, only elders know when it has to be removed, it seems. It comes on experience. If you hire a labor to cut the ERCICA fruit, adike, they don't know when to cut that. So they have given an app to them, they just show the camera to the fruit, and if it tells yes, they cut that fruit and they use.
Entrepreneur.
So, to that level, the technology is being used.
Yeah, that is the good example. Entrepreneur means what if everybody thinks there are no opportunities in this area, there itself you are finding some opportunities and exploiting the opportunities. That's what they are called as entrepreneurs.
Honegoda sir will add some more points for you, my dear.
I just say a few things.
Honegoda sir just joined. He is a CEO of Multiplex Drones Technologies. He does manufacturing of lot of drones.
Yeah, good idea. It's a good question that actually ideas have been saturated. But absolutely I say no. Ideas, actually, we should generate the ideas by discussion with a group of people. Like some of your best friends, sit together, develop good ideas, then filter those ideas. It's like a funnel shape. You should put all these ideas and filter it out. They select the best ideas. That's where actually you require the mentorship, the guidance from your mentors, from your teachers. Then probably the best and good ideas could be taken and the process should be done. Then the process actually, when doing the process, we should have three major things along with the idea. One is, of course, idea itself. The second one is actually the resources. We should also have the resources. The third is actually the team and leadership. In fact, many of the ideas, 90% of the ideas fails if you don't do the market analysis properly and then take up your ideas into implementation. So we need to establish a wonderful process, then the proof of concept, and that should be validated. Then only, a lot of people will come forward for funding. Your startup will be successful. Number one. Number two, the innovation has to be constant. Just don't think that actually I have done the innovation, yes, enough. No, you need to keep on adding new features. Like for example, take the mobile phone. The mobile phone which came actually about, say, in 2000 was totally different from what you are seeing. The kind of innovation they are going and are adding. that's why new ideas comes. In fact, the first lecture very clearly said actually, you should read, find out what are the gaps in that. Based on that, you develop an idea. Then you work out a process with maybe the well-wishers, the mentors, industry leaders, academicians. Then develop a good structure. We should work out a good business plan. Like whatever I do, the idea, whether I can able to get a good market with the consumers. I think the ideas will never stop. It keep on coming. With every idea, I'm sure there could be a wonderful opportunity, but it has to go a lot of iterations. I think.
Yes. To add upon,
Sir, Raju sir, he has a question again because he says my question is not properly understood.
Yes,
he wanted to ask once again, please kindly.
So what I actually, thank you for your input, sir. So is it worthwhile to actually find a new path or just develop on the path that is already available? Because there is always a risk in mind of today's kids.
See, that is what he told. Learning will definitely help you in acquiring knowledge. Lot of knowledge, you will have creativity built in you. Once the creativity is in you, innovation will automatically happen from your side. Which direction, it's up to you, right? First you have to keep learning things. Your question is, should I innovate new thing or should I re-innovate the old one which is already there, right? Correct, no?
Yes.
It can be anything for the market standards, what you want. Now you cannot go and invent something related to Ola and Uber which is already there, aggregator services. Which is not there, try that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have to organize the unorganized sector. That's it, very simple. To add up one. Yeah.
So I would like to answer your question. See, think of 30 years ago, okay, in case I may take for example the hospitals and healthcare, okay, so we used to have one physician clinic in our gully, and now then if you have any major health issues, we go to the hospital, okay. So where the idea has started, where now for every part of our body we have a hospital now, okay. So whatever idea you have, okay, you fix the target audience, okay, and then drill down, do a reverse engineering and decide now whom are you catering to, okay. Suppose if I say, no, I teach yoga for everyone, okay, do you think people will come and join me? That's not the, is that a catchy statement that I am making now? No, definitely not. Okay, suppose if you say that, now I teach yoga for people who are 50 and above to take care of their old age, to have a healthy aging. Okay, so that makes, so it is it is the same idea, okay, yoga is the same idea, okay. So like you said, now, see, do you think, if I come to your argument, okay, so you said, now, lot of people are teaching yoga, so I don't have any opportunity in the market now, right? So you drill down, this is an era of, not niche also. The niche era is already, it is coming to an end as well. It is now getting into micro niche. Okay, micro niche is fix the target to only a micro niche, specific target audience, okay, and be an expert in that. So this really helps anyway. So when you think from this angle, right, you get multiple ideas. From one idea, now another 100 ideas will emerge. I hope that helps you.
Can I add few things for that? I think it was a good one. So look at a problem. So now when you look at, I think everything stopped doesn't mean that there is the further beginning. There is no end. The world is constantly undergoing a change. Morning, Swamiji said, India has filed about 60,000 patents versus the China and the America, the figures Similar the research papers. So why it has come so less? And that is the beginning of the idea or originations. So India is such a massive country. There is a lot of problem statements here, right? So now just go back to the few centuries when Apple fell down. It was a problem for Isaac Newton. For ordinary people, it was just Apple was falling, right? So it is all in our minds. What we will constantly look at, there is a problem. You might walk down the street, or you are living in your living room. There is a problem statement always emanates, and the brilliant idea or the mind picks up that the problem statements, and that moment it is going to be a change. Now, one example I would like to cite. So you see so many low code, the no code applications, right? But then the constant innovators doesn't stop there. He says, or the one who is trying to build something different, he will look at, okay, what next I can do, right? So there is a no end for such this thing, because the world itself fundamentally is designed like that. It is for a change, and that is all of us. If we have such a closed eyes, both from internal and external, I think we'll be able to land up in some opportunities, and that opportunity could be a game changer, idea generator, so whatsoever you can say. That is how it is. So don't look at, okay, there is a end of these things, jobs are they stop. No, you need to think beyond. That is how the answer lies. Thank you.
But work on your interests.
Hello sir, I am Ashutosh Jha. I wanted to know that what's the roadmap of becoming a CEO?
Oh my God, it's a long journey, man. I think I'll give this question to Honegoda sir, the most deserved CEO in our group.
CEO just by starting a company, or like me, I have worked for 35 years in the government organization, in the academic institution. Now I have become the CEO. Okay, it all depends. It's basically, you should have a good expertise in your field, in-depth knowledge in your field. If you excel, you can grow up in wherever you are in the industry. I'm 100% sure you can become a company CEO. Okay, otherwise, if you start your own company, from the day one you can become a CEO. Like, for example, my daughter has a company, she is the CEO. Now I have become, after 35 years, serving 35 years, I have become a CEO of a company. So it depends. But what is more important is that we should work hard, we should have a leadership quality, we should have a good communication, and we should have an ability to take up the challenges. Okay, thank you.
To add upon, investor, you are the owner of that organization, you can become a CEO. But that will not, bring more creativity in you. When there is an investor, outside person, and you are being hired as a CEO, that will build fire in you.
And
okay.
If you see, when you suppose want to become a CEO and own a company, and if you are a part of every task that that happens in the company, then you are not a CEO. Okay, so you should know how to get the work done. That is one thing. And this CEO is more of your mindset and the culture, the people that you move around with, the people that you network. Okay, do you know? Have you seen what I mean? CEO is one from right from the morning till the evening. Okay, the kind of activities that they do on a day-to-day basis, and the people whom they interact with. Okay, is totally different from what we do on a daily basis.
So exactly, to refresh, to become a CEO, it took close to 19 years for me. I started my career at Intel, then I moved to McAfee, I became an entrepreneur, then I was hired by a big group as a CEO. After all, what I understand from this role CEO is, it doesn't come just like that. It adds with a lot of responsibilities. It is not just one role. You will get into multiple roles and you have to do multiple things at the same time, and you have to bring everybody together, take this as an organization forward. You have to represent, you are the brand ambassador of that organization. That is CEO. But it comes on experience, and good that you asked that. I'm very happy. Keep that motivation going. You'll become a very good CEO here.
Thank you, sir.
He is my student, sir. In fact, by looking at me, I think he always wanted to become like a CEO. Because most of the time I wonder with CEOs, right? So he may
I think
be aspiring.
This spark will make him a CEO eventually. Yes.
He may be aspiring to be, I think.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಗೆ ನಾವು CEO ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಜಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಗೆ ನಾವು CEO ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಜಾ ಇರೋದು.
See, you are anybody, whether CEO or whoever it is, right? See, you are always an average of 5 people that you move around with. Okay, so every day, are you hanging around with friends who think higher than you or lower than you? Are you seeking knowledge or are you in the mode of teaching somebody? Okay, so you have to be in the circle where you learn from people and you mentor them as well.
May I ask you one question? What was the question behind your question? What is it? Okay. So I think, I think there is nothing called a starting point. When, where, how, and all these things.
Starting. They want to start now. Yeah. Starting point is learn from. Learn from the people who have already achieved. Like Steve Jobs, who is already a CEO. Just understand their daily lifestyle. What do they think on their mindset? Okay, what do they do on a daily basis? The kind of people that they interact with. This was it falls on the same points that I said earlier. So it is not that their thought process on a whole day is not the way that we think on a daily basis. So, and within a given short span of time, right? When they meet somebody, how to package your ideas, convey to them in a crisp and short manner is something which we have to learn from them. So, start reading their understanding, reading their books, how they started with their biographies. I think to start with, I think Apple, Steve Jobs is a good start.
Sir, we have here another 3 questions are there for you. So I give it to please.
Good afternoon, sir. We are Gen Z group, and as I joined here, I am a first year student. I was exposed into so many technologies and into so many fields. It was open for me, and every time when I see my pop-ups in my phone, I will be interested to do research and get info about it. In your journey also, I guess you would have felt like when you was thrown up into so much of information and so much of fields, how you figured out which was your field, how you collected that excitement in learning and focused on one.
Trust me, I was a backbencher in my college.
It's a very impressive question, sir, I think. Seriously. Why? Because these days students are having so many technologies keep coming, popping up, talking about, listening about. They will also get confused. What field should I take? What field of study is good for me? I think over to you, sir.
See, that's what I was telling. Learning, doesn't mean that you have to go depth into all the technologies, right? Have a basic awareness about it. Today, as the CEOs even, trust me, everybody, today we are learning something new. It is inevitable for us. We have to keep upskilling ourselves every day. You cannot stop. Neither Honnegoda sir also can't stop, right? You have to keep learning. But to what extent you need to acquire the knowledge, to that extent you can acquire that knowledge. You cannot, pioneer it all in the same day, right? There is a long way to go.
Try to get the knowledge from all the pop-ups that you are getting, okay? And now maybe your inner voice would say, okay, what you are really interested in. Something will pull you again and again. Okay, so look for that. Look for the one thing.
I think you understood, dear student.
Anyway, see, we actually, as he rightly said, we are not that, it's not that during our college days, we got what we wanted, everything was given to us in a plate, okay. I was pushed into a graduation where after joining the college, I knew, this is the subject I'm going to learn. Okay, this is how we started. Okay, but eventually...
Those days we were not aware of. He is right, actually. Next semester,
whichever specialization had no donation or less donation, right? Okay, we are put into that, simple. This is how it started. Okay, so the journey is something you always learn by experience only. Okay,
But question was good, Ma. You should acquire knowledge.
I think this next 2-3 years for you, keep acquiring, keep learning, keep listening. 4th year, I think maybe specialization. There, by the time you will be so matured enough, what technologies, what my interest, and what is good industry is waiting for.
The last sem will tell you what you are.
I think this igniting in your mind is very good. I mean, I'm so appreciative to you.
Yeah, this is how it starts. Okay.
Yeah. Ignitions.
My example is now immediately during the college days now, or during our days, our computer course, our technology was not this great. Okay, so we started learning the C, Unix, C. Okay, we had Lotus, WordStar, and it was you have never heard of all this. You were never born at that point of time. So it all started then. So our spark was the Unix and C, the C programming language. Okay, so eventually we were pushed into the IT. So, okay, during the journey of around 27 years now, okay, we reached a stage where, I mean, I'm talking about myself, reached a stage where, right, at one point of time, yes, I am done with this job, okay, so come out of it. So, but you have already worked on one particular area for so many years, so switching to some other line or changing your domain completely is not a wise thing. So, where to apply all this? Okay, this is where, okay, I mean, you are asking, how will I know what I really like and what I don't like, right? Okay, so I was looking for an area where I can apply all my technical knowledge that I've gathered through the technology, leadership and other things, say, with all the technology. It started with C, Java, okay, Perl, okay, Clipper, okay, all the basic Fortran, okay, all the earlier languages, programming languages. What is the one area that where it gets applied? Okay, is where the security cuts through all these areas, cyber security. So that is how I found out. I mean, this happened eventually during my career phase. Because now I'm into the cyber security, and even security is something which most of the companies are aware of it now. Okay, but once the crime happens, what needs to be done? No one is aware. Okay, other than calling the police, what do you know? Right? So this is one point which struck my mind. Okay, right? So I went into the micro niche of forensics, digital forensics. So security is something which is proactive. That is, you lock your door before you go out of your house, right? That is something you are preventing. That's a proactive measure. Forensics is the reactive measure. Once the event has happened, once the crime has happened, okay, what needs to be done? Okay, just like a murder happens in normal forensics, okay, they go and collect the evidences, the fingerprints, the blood stains. Okay, the forensics team, what does they do? So like digital forensics, we have a other series of activities that needs to be done post the crime happens. Not many are aware of it, and how to preserve those evidences. Okay, how to maintain the chain of custody. Okay, there's a lot of terms that happens. It is not that I found a pen drive at the crime scene, I go and give it to the court, the judge will never accept that. There is a procedure to be followed, and how does he know that after you take the pen drive, you go take it to your home, put it in your laptop, delete some files or add some files and then give it to submit to the court? How do they know? So there are some few steps to ensure whether the evidence is not tampered. It is in its original condition. So whatever we work on will be a copy of it. So this is something I'm just getting deep into the field that I'm working into, but this sounded something interesting, because definitely this, right, how to preserve these evidences, I have to apply my knowledge, whatever I have learned so far. So the previous knowledge helped me, but this area was really new, so this helped me get into this area. Now it is this has become my bread and butter now. So you will end up in for some it will happen in the initial stage. Okay, we are not A.R. Rahman to be passionate right from 9 years onwards. Okay.
Impressive, sir. Very impressive. I mean, your question and the panel discussions talk was very impressive, sir. I think if you just I am Gen X, you are Gen Z. I think SARS still older. In our time, we have started with Pascal. We went on COBOL. We went on Fortran. We went on C. Our professor says C is a C. UC we don't know. SEAR is C, UC. So we fell into such languages. We came to Java. Now you people are talking about Fortran, Python, some different.
They would not have heard. They were not born.
Python or Python, sir. Swamiji was telling that. So you are all into going to that. So that's good, sir. I mean, the more they learn, I mean, destiny will also, God also will be there for you.
This is how all
very,
it
very
starts.
impressive. Being a first year, you ask such questions. Very impressive, ma. Sir, I will got another two students are aspiring to ask you. Please.
How do you guys manage it? Like the situation, how do you guys manage it?
It varies from industry to industry. In IT industry, it is different for us. So what do we do is we maintain a bench strength of 20% bench strength we maintain always. We try to cut down that. And we try to cut down the leaves so that the leave balances. It doesn't mean that, we are going to pinpoint and pain the employees of our organization. Because they are the only key assets of our organization. We cannot go and directly put that the same pressure what I am going to receive, and I cannot pass on the pressure to employees, right? So we try to see where we can streamline and cut down our expenses and run for that recession time what you were mentioning. As today, if you look at, we are in a recession, you know that, right? Yeah. But we are succeeding. Globally, what is happening is, cost cutting is happening. People always look at India for a low cost. Definitely if one quarter we are down, the other quarter again we are up. That's how the IT business is.
Sometimes we see what can be done during that period, whether to to understand the customer needs in a better way, spend some time, use the resources for the R&D purpose, just to what can be done after this downfall. Okay, so effectively using that in a way, but into what is the further customer requirements post this phase, and why is this, or maybe retrospecting onto why this downfall, why this happened. Okay, so introspecting and retrospecting is something. These are it is not only selling and making money is the only option of the CEOs anyway. So we have to focus on many areas where the people have to be happy, the employees have to be happy, and what do they work on when they have a job, when they have a demand from the customer, what do they work on is that is one thing, that is the core thing. But in case if the market is down, like as you asked, when the market is down, when the company is not doing well, okay, where to focus on, working on the weaker areas, how to make them strong, okay, how to upskill the employees for them to prepare them for the upcoming market. So these are the areas that we can focus on. Okay, this is the place where we spend the time in case if the market is down.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Now, few things. I think all the days are not sunny, right? That is how the world operates. You need to have a better preparation. What could be eventualities, good days and bad days, right? So you need to have that kind of a sustainable thinking process. So when you have all the upstream things, everything goodies happens, that time you need to have a certain reserves. And as a good CEO, always you should think my cash flow, right? Cash flow is the most critical bone of any organizations. You need to have a sustainability, you need to have a paying abilities to pay the salaries, and then, okay, what is, the coming, in the 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, things like that. And sometimes the people will do innovation during that time to see what could be new products or new services I can launch. And the companies can sail through, right? So the recessions or market conditions, the political conditions are very different. You don't have a predictability. There is no AI for that, right? So certain things can be managed through AI, certain things can be managed through your own intuitions or the inner side. So you need to be prepared. It is not a hard and fast tool, things like works like this, right? Suddenly the boom happens, suddenly the crash happens. So eventualities is the one which you need to prepare as a leader.
Anup, we have a question, one more. Anup, please. Swaroop.
Namaste, sir, and good afternoon. Sir, how can we become expert in any field?
As usual, it's very simple. Keep learning, you become an expert.
You learn, fail, learn.
You're an expert in it.
Practice. Okay, hands on. Anything hands-on. Okay. Just keep on trying, keep on failing, as he said, yes. Okay.
See, to add upon to the previous question also, people keep talking about drone business. Drone is booming, sir. His question was there, what do we do in recession? You please add upon that point as well there, sir.
See, one thing we should be cautious that whatever the subject you study, but ultimately whichever the field you choose, you should go deep into that. It only comes through a lot of reading and also practice. As some of them said, practice is very important. I'll give an example. I was basically from Agriculture University. I entered into the ISRO, where I had to study about remote sensing and GIS. Then I became the director of Karnataka State Remote Sensing. Again, I had to go deep into the remote sensing and GIS, answer a lot of user questions and all that. For that, a lot of learning, everyday learning is required actually. And learning, not only learning, if you start reading, you may forget also. You have to do a lot of, the practical exercises also. Then only you can be successful actually. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Vannagoda sir, you are also there into Karnataka Science and Technology for a few years, I think. Correct, right? 7 years. KSTA, one of the very important organizations.
KSRS, sir. Karnataka State Remote Sensing.
Remote Sensing. KSTA, sir? Science and Technology?
That is actually, I was there for 15 years.
Yes.
See you.
Our Professor Patnaik sir is there, my guru. He is the advisor and board member there. Yes. Thank you, sir. We have a last question from one of my student, Mohit.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Mohit. Sir, if I have ideas, where should I put up my ideas?
Guru is important.
Guru is important. For anything, ideas, Guru is required. Guru will drive you, advise you where this idea should be taken ahead. Suppose if I am there, I know all these people, I can take your idea and showcase and find a coach, find a mentor and find an investor also. So that these things, yes, of course, you need an interface here.
So you please stay in touch with Prasad. The beauty of Tech Bharat is that close to 300 entrepreneurs are launched there.
I am one of the core committee member, was working with Raju sir for organizing Tech Bharat for last 2 editions.
Prasad is part of core committee. Okay.
Thank you, and on behalf of ERCICA, please give a round of applause to our panel members. Wonderful session, sir. I mean, this is real productive of any conference that we expect. Our students were they didn't go for lunch. They said, sir, we want panel discussion. Please bring them back. So I mean, very grateful to all of you, sir. Had a beautiful, wonderful interaction.
Thank you so much.
Students, for you also, thank you so much for interacting with panel discussions. So we officially will close down and head for lunch. Sir, please.
As well as Jenkins and the AWS that is being handled through that. And here's the application what is being done through the AWS ERCICA. So coming to the conclusion part, why we have to use those processes, it streamlines the process, the automation is faster and the delivery of the applications is faster when compared to the traditional approach, and it solves all the challenges what was been existing previously in the manual development processes. So to avoid that, we can use, and we can also use the microservices so that each part can be successfully deployed, and the part of works where this development process includes a lot of services to be delivered, so that can be divided into microservices, and each microservices can be deployed using the CI/CD pipeline. So that's the conclusion. Working only for the microservices, and they can talk about those things what are being happening. So that's how.
So it is compatible with AWS.
Yes, not only AWS, we can use any of the. Yes, we can use.
Is there any modifications which are necessary or directly you can like
No ma'am, it's only for cloud storage where our data for storing purpose we use the AWS, not restricted only for the AWS.
Now you've done it for AWS?
Yes ma'am.
That's all. You're not tested for other platforms?
No ma'am. Next I would like to call Abhishek Kumar, paper ID 391.